bring that crap where I live at. I don't care how gangster you are, how many bodies you think you got. I will end your bloodline. That's a fact. I don't do the whole gangster rap because I know real violence. And what I'm capable of doing, like the shooting stuff, no, I will end your bloodline. And anybody who looked at me when I was doing it, they're gone too. That gangster violent rap shit doesn't do nothing for me. Nothing surprises me with stupid people. You have enough money to leave that environment and you still want to be a part of that environment. It's stupid to me. You got enough to leave it. Wasn't that the whole purpose to begin with? But like I said, that whole gangster rap stuff, no, I will peel you and wear your skin. I shouldn't say that. That's messed up. I'm going back to the old me, man. See, I'm done. I'm good. That's stupid to me. I don't get it. I think it's a bad poison on our youth, man. Everybody wants to be a gangster till you actually roll up on one. And the one who is the gangster don't ever talk about it, don't got a mixtape, none of that. Most of the gangster stuff that's done is never talked about.
We literally are so hell-bent on trying to discern each other from each other to the point where there's no chance of us building anything. And what is the point of money if we can't? What is the point of the money if we can't build anything? I don't understand. Why are y'all so goddamn aroused at this thought of reparations when literally what it would take to make those reparations mean something in our community, we don't have even a drop of the infrastructure for it. We got all the raw talent and materials in the world, don't get me wrong. We have so much to be proud of as individuals and our capability, but we have absolutely nothing to be proud of as a community of people. We don't. Like, we are a fucking mess right now. Reparations for what? What y'all gonna do with it? What we gonna do with it when we get it? What y'all just tuned into a second ago was just a couple clips from an interview that's been out not that long ago. Nicholas Irving, if y'all kind of keep up with Vlad TV or just keep up with, you happen to know who Nicholas Irving is, he's been on dozens of platforms, ex-Army Ranger, retired Army Ranger, whatever the case may be, sniper, hell of a story, giving his 2 cents and opinion about the current state of affairs in hip hop culture, essentially black street culture, and the music side of that, particularly asked about the Lil Durk situation, if you're anywhere near familiar with that. But I want to give you some context on how all of this, I'm using this as an example to tie back to the reparations conversation. So you got the attention span for it, hang tight for a second. So as you saw in the clips, very passionate about his discernment and his differentiating from that end of black culture. He don't want any parts of it. And to whatever extent he feels like it could pose a threat to him, you see his response to it. He's ready to go to war. The only thing that makes money work, the only thing that makes money functional is systems, ideals, visions, and implementation of processes. Money is literally an inanimate object until something comes along and gives it purpose and gives it something uses it to create a structure, to build something. That's all money is really. It's just an inanimate object. Without it being utilized in an effective manner, it absolutely means nothing. And the only way to truly create infrastructure, to have something, to build mechanisms that build something. I always liken money to blood very often. And just like blood in a body, it needs organs functioning properly so that blood can flow effectively and do its job. If those organs aren't flowing properly in some capacity or another, blood is not able to do its job effectively. Money is very similar. No matter how you try to slice it and dice it and value it, if you don't have proper infrastructure in place, if you don't have a mechanism to make that money function as a utility towards something, it is pointless. The idea of reparation has become such a like this psychological trophy. And I'm sitting here, this is my second video on the topic, and I'll have to try to tie in the first video in the description or maybe stick it somewhere in this video. It's my second video on the topic. I don't understand the concept of the passion behind reparations when, generally speaking, Black America is so fucked up that the money's not going to serve a utility. If we got it tomorrow, at the time of this recording, it is February 2025. If we got that money tomorrow, I am busy trying to figure out as an overarching community, not as individuals, but as an overarching community, how it's gonna make a difference. Please educate me and let me know. When you look at the video with Nicholas Irving, he's essentially exclaiming his discernment from his end of Black America to that end of Black America. And you can see the passion that he has around the topic, discerning I don't understand why they are the way they are. I can't relate at all. I don't understand it. And to be honest with it, I'm ready to attack it if it comes anywhere around me, essentially. That is literally the epitome of Black culture as a whole. Find every reason possible to fight and very few reasons to genuinely unite over anything. We might fuss and cuss over a few things here and there, We might knock some stuff over, you know what I'm saying? Block a few highways every now and then, but we don't really take the time out to build anything where it really counts, by the way. Most of us, our families are in shambles or is duct taped together to look like something that is really not. God forbid we talk about a neighborhood or a community. When you get down into the weeds, our culture, our community as a whole is in shambles for the most part. As individuals, we do great. We do wonderful things as individuals. Like we got countless examples of smart people, wealthy people, great business owners, great creators. Like we got all kind of examples of that as individuals. Black history, at the time of this recording, is Black History Month. We got countless examples from history and today of individuals that have done great things. We have very little to no institutions at all. We haven't really built or created anything at all. And mind you, I'm aware in history, when we've tried, it's been destroyed. We've been killed, it's been wiped out. I get it. Don't get me wrong. But in recent paradigms where there's been more civility in society and we've had more control, we're worse off now, generally speaking, than we were when we had it openly bad. We're worse off now as a people group than we were when things were openly bad, when we openly can be shot, stabbed, hung, churches bombed and shot up, businesses flattened, airplanes dropping bombs on our corridors and stuff. When these things were happening, our communities were better than they are now. We actually had integrity as a community. There was actually a form of togetherness that we can look back and see when we read on it and hear stories. Our home ownership rates were better back then when we were able to own homes. Our education was better in a lot of cases. Like the list goes on. It seems as we've devolved as we've gotten more included into society. And I know that there's a lot of moving mechanisms and part contributed to that. I am not saying Black America is solely at fault when I say this. And me be clear. But I do want to start with accountability. We can't really point the finger and focus on anything else other than our actions first before we can start looking at outside influences. Because if that's the case, we're giving all the power to the outside entities and none to ourselves. So for me, I work on 100% accountability to the best of my ability within myself, even when I know that there's other factors at play and variables at play causing a problem or causing an issue. I'm looking at them. I know they're there, but I do my best to observe and function around what I can do differently and what I can do better. And that's keeping the power in my hands because I believe in myself as an individual. So I'm going to pass that along to us as a community of people. Nicholas Irving in his interview, and you need to watch the whole thing. I only stuck a couple clips so you can get an idea, but him in his interview is the epitome of how we view each other and how we deal with each other. We literally are so hell-bent on trying to discern each other from each other to the point where there's no chance of us building anything. And what the fuck is the point of money if we can't? What is the point of the money if we can't build anything? I don't understand. Why are y'all so goddamn aroused at this thought of reparations when literally what it would take to make those reparations mean something in our community, we don't have even a drop of the infrastructure for? We got all the raw talent and materials in the world, don't get me wrong. We have so much to be proud of as individuals and our capability. But we have absolutely nothing to be proud of as a community of people. We don't. Like, we are a fucking mess right now. Like, generally speaking, we are a fucking mess. We're lucky to find families doing well for themselves, even just the immediate families. I'm going through my own changes, by the way. I'm not throwing that from a place of arrogance. I don't have the best resume and track record in the world through my adulthood as well when it comes to that family dynamic and still working on putting that together. So let's just be honest. I'm also not somebody sitting up here asking for more than I can handle either. Listen, I understand the concept of reparations on paper, but I also look at it and say, I'm still working on managing the wealth that I'm creating for myself right now. Managing my own damn money and the money of those I love and I'm taking care of and I'm responsible for and the well-being of them. I'm still figuring that out. Why? What do I look like? What do I look like out here wasting time and energy? Not saying that somebody shouldn't be fighting for what's right, because I know that that's another thing. But I'm looking at it saying to the point where it's becoming a distraction and it's like this, and as if this external source has to come bless us for us to solve our problems. There's so many things for us to fix right in our own homes. The hell with that. There's so many things to fix right here between our ears. Money is not the source of our problems. Would it be helpful as hell? Absolutely, for sure. But it is not the source of our problems. It's not. When our people were doing better, they didn't have a lot of money in a lot of cases. They were not. They didn't. When our people were doing better, our ancestors were doing better, they were doing better without money and resources all the time. So we have better access to money and resources than they ever did. We're worse. I don't understand. I don't get it. So when you look at this interview and his response, that is an encapsulation of how we feel towards each other. Our antennas go up immediately. The first thing we're looking for is discernment. For the most part, the first thing we're looking for is discernment. And then there's a small percentage of us that are trying to do the one love thing. But come on, man, let's keep it a buck. In most cases, that's not usually individuals or entities that are decision makers or leaders in our community. I'm gonna leave that where it's at, because I'm gonna say a lot of other things that's gonna be offensive. But at the end of the day, like, most of us that are halfway decent have to marginalize ourselves from our own upbringing, and a lot of times our own families. If you do relatively well for yourself, you got a certain moral construct, that certain cultural practices you don't function in, ain't no way you still in the midst of your family or in the midst of your community for the most part. You know you on the outskirts. You know you the black sheep. Come on, man. Let's keep it a buck. You know you the black sheep. So at the end of the day, I'm trying to figure out the reparations conversation. Please comment down below. Let me know what you think. Like, what's your perspective? How is it that this is supposed to move the needle and actually, or do we just want the trophy of having it? Do we just want the trophy of having it? Is that all that really matters to us? Is like, oh, we got it. We did it. Is that it? You know, like, at the end of the day, I'm just trying to figure out, is it supposed to be something that's supposed to actually be a utility in the community and actually move it forward and progress it? Or do we just want to parade around and look cute because they finally gave it to us? I don't know. Y'all let me know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to figure out, with that kind of vitriol in our blood towards people that we're supposed to be able to relate to the most. When I look at that interview with him, I'm sitting there thinking, like, don't get me wrong. I understand that you made different choices and that you worked hard to not be that type of influence on your community, etc. Like, I get it. You ended up going in the military doing some variation of similar at the end of the day, if you want to get into the weeds on it. But okay, cool. And by the way, thank you for your service. My father's a Vietnam veteran. I'm not on anybody from the military whatsoever. But at the end of the day, let's keep it a buck. Our military is a gang in a lot of capacities, bro. They're not actually out spreading happiness and democracy a lot of times. They're imposing the will of our country and our quality of life. And they're doing it at the expense of whatever other people group. So you spent your career, Nicholas Irving, doing that. And you can hear it in your interviews that you don't feel the greatest about that as a background for you. And understandably so. I still feel like you deserve the flowers for serving this country, because you, for better or for worse, you still move the needle in the quality of life that we have the ability to afford today. But let's keep it a buck. Like, our military involvement around the world is not the healthiest. That's one conversation. Discerning the military, going into the military and versus those in the streets, definitely some conversation that can be had around how big of a difference that really is. The Lil Durks of the world and a whole generation of artists and rappers that are being wiped out by drugs and violence, that are devolving culturally, ethically, principle, values, morals. They are the most marginalized and unheard group of us as a culture, in case you can't understand and can't relate to who they are. I'm fortunate to have been in a situation where I came up in the streets, but I had good parents that created a great bubble and insulated around me. So I was exposed to the streets and participated in the streets, and still was able to come out and make a life for myself because my parents were who they were. And I was able to get my head together before the streets could snatch me. But I understand it wholeheartedly. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to come from that environment and then get on the other side and can talk about it. They're just the most marginalized, misunderstood, unheard, like, voices least heard in our community. So by the time they stick money in their faces and a platform to be seen, why do you think the concept to make you famous? Simple. I can't get your attention no other way, so I'm about to go out here and terrorize shit. It's not that hard to understand. It's not. And just wrapping this up around Nicholas Irving in particular, your feelings towards it, I understand it. I feel the same way. I protect myself everywhere I go that I'm possibly able to do so. And I got the same mindset when I step outside of my house. I'm gonna mind my business and do right by everybody that I can. If somebody bring problems to my door, I'm gonna try to rip their face off too. I get it. But at the end of the day, I don't have that mindset to listening to him in that interview, listening to you in that interview, Nicholas, if I'm talking directly, is like, just seeing these guys makes me angry and makes me want to attack something. That's not the perspective I have. I keep my guard up. I keep my eyes up, ears open. I'm on the swivel for whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna treat you with respect like another human being. I don't give a damn if you got cocaine dripping from your nose, a hair-on needle in your arm, pants down your ankle. I don't care. I'm gonna treat you with respect. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's what it is. I don't know your story. I don't know your situation. Don't bother me. Don't bother mine, bro. I'm good. I'm not here to hurt you, judge you. In that capacity, I'm not here for that. All that is, if you curious who it is, Nicholas Irving, the Lil Durks of the world, it's your son without you in his life. If you curious, it's your son without you in his life and without the right elements around him to protect him from the cold world that we living in a culture, that environment that comes to snatch you up when nobody's there to protect and buffer you. That's all Lil Durk is, and everybody else that was talked about in that interview, and all the other people being referenced in the rap game and etc. that are killing themselves and dying over overdoses and getting locked up for crimes, even though they're millionaires, etc. In case you're curious, It's your son without you. It's my son without me. So at the end of the day, have some empathy. And if you're worried about this broader concept of this reparation, listen, until we can learn to respect and care for and protect and trust each other in our own households and be able to find more common ground and differences in our own households, they can drop $1 trillion in every single black home in America. It's gonna be gone in days to weeks. It's over. It means nothing. There's no structural integrity or infrastructure to protect the value and function of that money. It means nothing. It means absolutely nothing. So as far as the reparation conversation, look, for those who have the intellectual capacity and the time on their hands, continue to fight for what's right. But the majority of us ain't in no type of position for it. So I just wanted to use this as a live example to point it out. Just one of many that can be pointed out. Comment down below and let me know your perspective on the topic. I'm sure you may have a lot to say. It's a passionate topic. Drop your comments for agreements or disagreements. I really don't care. I'm willing to have a conversation. Drop your comments down below. So all my pioneers, welcome back. To my new viewers, welcome in. I want each and every one of you to stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon. This is my blueprint for financial empowerment and self-sufficiency. This is my blueprint for optimal health and body mastery. This is my blueprint for mental, physical, and spiritual momentum. This is my blueprint for prosperity.